Bring in Shawn Cruz. He's trader strategy manager at TD Ameritrade. Shawn, what are you seeing in terms of the actual action? It seems like it's just been this kind of heavy slide, no real buyer stepping in.
Not really. And if you looked earlier on, before we heard from Chairman Powell, before we had the tweets from President Trump, you saw a little bit more of a defensive posture in these markets where you had some of the more defensive sectors like utilities and healthcare kind of outperforming some of the other more cyclical sectors like energy and consumer discretionary technology. But that slide sort of escalated as the day went on. But it really was just a little bit more of a pronounced move of what we saw earlier on after China announced its tariffs earlier on this morning.
I mean, what happens when you guys see these tweets? Like, what's the it feels like, you know, Powell, highly anticipated speech in Jackson Hole. That was going to be the big market mover today. The market did like a little bit of nothing, went up a little on that. And then President Trump tweeted that he may be a bigger enemy than Chairman Xi. And he hereby ordered U.S. companies to get out of China and threaten more retaliatory action. And that had a much larger impact. So I'm just wondering how all of this goes down on a trading floor on a Friday afternoon in the summer.
Well, I think, if you look at what we saw out of the VIX, we talked about this last week, Sarah, where I thought the VIX getting down below 18 was a little bit too low. And if you look at what we saw Wednesday, the VIX actually got down into the 15 range. I thought that showed the markets were maybe a little bit off sides. And that was the risk here, was that you do get something unexpected like a tweet or another escalation in the trade war. And that's exactly what we got. So earlier on this morning, you got China announcing its tariffs. That pushed the VIX up to 18. Powell came out, was dovish enough that we saw the VIX pull back down to 17. And then we got President Trump's tweet. That skyrocketed back higher up to 20. So the VIX has really showed you where a lot of the angst and anxiety is from investors. And I think right now 20 seems like an appropriate level for the VIX with everything that we've heard going into the weekend.
Nancy, you talked earlier about it being a Friday afternoon. It's essentially generally slow activity, not a lot of liquidity. Does that make you think differently about the degree of the decline today?
No, I mean, 700 points isn't what it used to be, as we talk about frequently. I do think the tweets are kind of the point. When Chairman Powell takes front and center in the news cycle, the president makes sure to insert himself and get in front of it. I don't like it. I'm sure Shawn doesn't like it, but it isn't a long-term fundamental changer of the value of stocks and the U.S. economy. So I think we call it today and we say have a good weekend, and we'll start again on Monday when there's going to be more people back at their desks making decisions for the right reasons.
The last week of summer. Shawn Cruz, thanks for joining us up TD Ameritrade.